Oke, selamat malam semuanya. Kita masih tunggu lagi beberapa peserta. Ini baru pada masuk semua. Di sini saya perkenalkan dulu ya. Kita ada Mr. Imran Hashim dari University of Warwick. Pak Imran, say something.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Imran. I'm the Warwick Liaison Manager for Southeast Asia. I'm actually based in Singapore. So, jadi saya orang Melayu Singapura. Malam ini saya akan coba juga bahasa Indonesia sedikit-sedikit ya. Tetapi kalau bicara saya seperti Upin Ipin, mohon maaf dahulu sebelumnya ya. Jangan marah karena mungkin belum begitu fasih bahasa Indonesianya, tapi saya akan coba juga ya. Kita akan campur-campur lah bahasa Indonesia dan juga bahasa Inggris.
Right. Thank you, Pak Imran. We have three speakers. Would like to say hi to Johan. Would you like to give a bit of introduction?
Hi guys, great to be here. Very excited. My name is Johan Antlov. I am the Chief Growth Officer for HappyFresh Group. So I oversee marketing and growth for the three countries that we're in: Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. I'm based in Jakarta. Previously, I was also Managing Director for Lazada. Yeah.
Right. So you were in Lazada as well, yeah, Johan?
Yes. One of the first Managing Directors for Lazada. Yeah.
I see. Right. Thank you very much. And we have Ricci, who is currently working in Bali, he said.
Yes. Yeah, that's the perk I think by working in like a startup. So yeah, now I'm Ricci. So now I'm working for ByteDance Indonesia as the HR business partner for trust and safety team. Before in ByteDance, I used to work like in KL, also for AirAsia Digital, and then also for Gojek Indonesia. And before I joined the startup, I also had like some corporate experience like in Samsung Indonesia and also in Coca-Cola Amatil Indonesia.
Right. So basically, you did everything mostly in startup, yeah? You were in Gojek.
Yeah, I think for the last 5 to 6 years now, it's in startup.
Okay, good. So how is Bali?
Bali now it's getting crowded, but it's still okay. I mean, it's not like that crowded.
Okay, cool. Right. Let me invite Mbak Tiffany.
Halo, selamat malam.
Malam. Mbak boleh perkenalkan Mbak di Gojek sebagai apa, drivernya atau bukan?
Oke, saya sebagai tim yang membantu merchant to join Gojek. So my name is Tiffany. You can call me Tiff whenever you want to ask me any questions. I'm currently working as a product marketing manager with Gojek. Jadi sekarang saya jadi product marketing di Gojek. Saya megang merchants. So what I do on a daily basis is I help Indonesia's small, micro and medium enterprises to grow their business lah via Gojek merchants ecosystem. Previously, I was working as a product marketing manager in Bukalapak. Terus sebelumnya juga pernah kerja di creative agency in Indonesia. So yeah, unlike Ricci, I'm actually working in Bandung at the moment.
Oh, okay. So you're not in Jakarta now?
No, not necessarily. I'm in Bandung.
Right. Basically, you can work from everywhere, yeah? Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Pak Imran.
Yes, Pak Indra.
Yes. Okay. So how should we start? Would you like to?
Yep. I'll just take over from here and then introduce the audience to talk a little bit just about the big tech sector and its growth, and then I'll also start to have the discussion with the panelists. Is that all right?
Yes, thank you very much, Pak. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much, Pak Hendra. Right. Okay. So, everybody, thank you again for your time and a warm welcome from the University of Warwick and IBEC for attending this evening's event. Today, we'll be discussing big tech. And the reason why Warwick and IBEC chose this topic of big tech is because the sector will become an increasingly important employer, especially for the younger generation. So in Indonesia, for example, the internet economy was worth 44 billion in 2020, but it will be worth 124 billion in 2025. Jadi dalam 5 tahun aja akan hampir 3 kali lipat ya perkembangannya. So there's been a lot of investment in Indonesia from international tech giants, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, PayPal, Alibaba, ByteDance, all these major tech platforms, they have invested a lot in big tech in Indonesia. So that is why big tech is a really important and up and coming sector. So to help us better understand big tech, this evening we've brought together these 3 distinguished professionals in their fields. And hopefully by the end of this evening, you will have a clearer idea about what career opportunities there are in big tech. You will hopefully get a better idea of whether or not this sector is interesting for you, whether that's something you like, and that you will, whether or not you will enjoy working in this sector. Finally, whether or not we hope that this webinar will help you to understand what you can do to improve your chances of success in this area. So we'll do a panel discussion for about 1 hour, and then after that, we will follow up with a Q&A session for about 30 minutes. Yeah. So for everybody's information, that this event is being recorded right now. So just for information. Now, without further ado, I would like to actually bring back Johan and ask him to tell us a little bit more about HappyFresh Group and also his main roles and responsibilities within the company. So Johan, thanks for the quick introduction just now, but could you now go into a little bit more details into what your company does and then your role as Chief Growth Officer? That is a very interesting job title that you have. And I think, we'd like to know a little bit more about that.
Sure. I'm a founding member of HappyFresh. So HappyFresh is an online grocery company founded in Indonesia, but we are present in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. We were founded in 2015, and we are one of the earliest online grocery players in the region. What we do is that we partner with the supermarkets, offline supermarkets. We bring them online, and we have a platform. We have dedicated shoppers that we position inside the stores, as well as a network of drivers that delivers your groceries anytime you want, right? And it makes sure that the quality is as good as you expect it to be, right? Effectively, our mission is to simplify the lives of our customers, and we try to do this by having a delightful grocery experience. Now, my role as Chief Growth Officer, you can't get away the fact that I am in charge of growth for the organization. What does this mean? It means I overlook two aspects of the organization. One is that I oversee all sides of marketing, and marketing in itself comprises of almost 8 teams, I believe. So we have teams that focus on user acquisition. We have teams that focus on user retention. We have teams that focus on branding. We have teams that focus on the creative side. We have teams that focus on promotions and analytics. So even within the marketing team, we have a variety of roles, and each one of these requires a completely different set of skills. And my job is to bring all of this together into something that works, right? And also to make sure that on a local level, because each country operates very differently, that all strategies are completely localized. So actually, we have even bigger teams on the ground that run the show pretty much, and make sure that we're local. I also work very closely on the revenue side, so making sure that as an organization, we are always getting more revenue. So that means looking at monetization of the product. That means working with finance, and looking at the profit and loss, and making sure that what we are doing on the marketing side can also give us profit on the side. Now, as you know, in order to grow as an organization, you cannot only focus on marketing, you cannot only focus on revenue, you also need to make sure that the proposition that you're selling as a user is very close. So I also work very closely with the product team and here to make sure that we are talking very closely with each other, that we are always looking at what the environment is, that we're understanding the local competition, that we understand how the user behavior is, and then make sure that we innovate through experiments. So we have a lot of experiments running and that we always learning from this. So we're really driving in that innovation front as well, is one of the key areas I look into.
So, Johan, I'm really interested when you said you're one of the founding members. So I guess that would make you also the entrepreneur, one of the entrepreneurs behind HappyFresh. Is that right?
I joined almost 1 month into HappyFresh. So before we had launched in as well. So and it's only me, the CTO and the CEO are the only remaining people left in that. So we've been on the journey since day one. The CEO and myself, we were in Lazada together previously, and we left about the same time. So yes, we've seen the whole ecosystem explode. You know, in not only Indonesia but across the region. And it's been, you know, and I think this is just the beginning. It's super interesting to see how fast the tech industry is moving in this part of the world.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so that was a very interesting perspective of what a chief growth officer does, right? So a lot of marketing, but also, you know, keeping an eye on the you know, bottom sheet, bottom line, I guess. Next, I'm going to move on to Mas Ricci Wijaya. So Ricci, if you could just tell us. I mean, ByteDance is obviously you know, very famous because, you know, it's the company behind TikTok. But could you tell us a little bit more about, you know, ByteDance, TikTok, and then your role within that in Indonesia? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. Okay. So ByteDance actually, I think the most famous product is TikTok, but actually, in Indonesia, we also have like several products. So, for example, we also have like a Reso. Reso is like a Spotify-like apps. And then we also have Babe. Babe is like a news aggregator. And then we also have like CapCut, it's video editor. And then we also have like Mobile Legend for the gaming. So we just acquired Moonton as well. And then we also have like a product like Lark. Lark is for enterprise, so it's like a Slack actually. Okay, and then my role is like HRBP. So basically, I'm like the point of contact for HR in Indonesia. So I will help to develop the employees, and then I also help to execute all the programs like from regional. For example, we have like a diversity and inclusion program, and then like for a recruitment program, and then we also have like employee experience program, something like that. So I will help to execute that. And then like also like in Indonesia, I also help to also for the offering of the candidate, and then recruitment as well. So now I'm doing like recruitment for like the e-commerce and also for the trust and safety team. So yeah, I think now we are growing rapidly, so we are like hiring a lot as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Ricci. So that's very interesting because, you know, you will be sort of representing the HR voice, you know, in terms of, you know, human resources in big tech, you know, what are you looking for? So I think that is a very unique point of view and unique perspective, yeah, that you will contribute to the discussion. By the way, can I just ask you, you know, for example, HappyFresh Group, Gojek, these are super big organizations that, you know, employ a lot of people. But for example, ByteDance and TikTok and the associated companies in Indonesia, roughly how many people are working for the company?
For ByteDance now we have around 700. So it consists of 3 pillars. So trust and safety is 1/3 of the population is in trust and safety, and then also in global business solutions. So it's the sales and marketing, and one more is the e-commerce. So e-commerce is like the newly launched product. So it's a newly launched department for TikTok, so for the e-commerce. So now around 700, yes. But because our tech is actually only like in Singapore, US, and also in China. So not in every country.
I see. Okay, but sounds like it's also growing in Indonesia, yeah, in terms of the officers and in terms of the staff.
Yes.
Okay, great, excellent. Okay, so now I'd like to move on to Tiffany. But Tiffany, maybe you can. I mean, obviously, we all, yeah, I have like the Gojek app on my phone, obviously, right? Because whenever you're, macet in Jakarta, I have to take on one of the motorbikes, yeah.
Yeah.
So can you tell us, but so obviously Gojek, everybody knows, but can you just give us a brief description, maybe about specifically the department that you work in, and then your role and yeah, what you do at Gojek.
Okay. So yeah, maybe a lot of no, not a lot. Maybe some of trying to be humble. Maybe some of the audience here have used Gojek before. I'm pretty sure maybe some of you have been ordering food from GoFood ya. Atau misalnya kalau ke mall gitu belanja bayarnya pakai GoPay buat kejar promo gitu misalnya ya. Nah jadi kalau di Gojek, my role is the one supplying merchants for you. So I'm the product marketing manager for the merchant. For the merchant team. So merchant team is basically we are the one helping the merchants to onboard into Gojek ecosystem. Jadi misalnya ada MSMEs yang mau jualan makanannya online via GoFood. Nah, kita bantuin. Ayo coba masuk ke Gojek, masuk ke Gobis ya, nama apps-nya to register their business. Also, if you have a business and you want to use GoPay for the payment, we're helping you that to use that as well via Gobis. So Gobis is an applications for merchants gitu ya. So if you're a customer, you use Gojek app. If you're a merchant, if you're a business owner who wants to join into Gojek ecosystem, you have to download or you have to use Gobis app. So my responsibility is to onboard people, to help people. I'm the one helping the acquisition part. Jadi getting people to download, telling more MSMEs about like the product, on how it can help through a lot of like different marketing communications materials. Terus, since I'm a product marketing, I'm working closely with the product team in ensuring that the registration process itself, proses pendaftarannya tuh mudah untuk dimengerti gitu sama teman-teman yang mau coba jualan pakai aplikasinya dari Gojek gitu. Jadi a lot of communications on my daily basis of work, yeah, a lot of like trying out different marketing channels, trying out different communication angle, also a lot of educations there because a lot of merchants need education in how to register properly, and also a lot of like educations on how to use the platform in the right way gitu, so they can like grow using Gobis app gitu sih, simply for the roles.
That's very interesting. I think you've got a very interesting job. Jadi kira kan macam you are trying to get more and more businesses to join the Gobis app ya. Jadi mungkin do you find the challenge ya kalau macam ibu-ibu yang warteg atau apa gitu ya nggak usah karena ya bisnisnya kecil aja nggak perlu. I mean, is that one of the challenges where you talk with like a lot of the small businesses who maybe they don't see the benefit of joining the platform?
It is definitely one of the challenge gitu. Jadi karena banyak juga, and that's not even applied to smaller business ya. Kan ada bisnis kecil, kadang mungkin kayak okay belum merasa perlu online. But there are also like big businesses yang they have worked wonders lah. Their business is already big. Like people buy their stuff offline, and they don't feel the need to go online because it's just like add another hassle to their daily operational gitu. But then nowadays, especially since PPKM, since the COVID happening, mungkin juga teman-teman udah pada ngerasa ya kayak kan jadinya nggak bisa jajan di restoran gitu, nggak bisa jajan langsung di warung gitu ya. A lot of the business, even micro ones, already realized it is imperative, it is important to have an online presence as well, an online branch as well, so that they can reach like more people regardless of the whole COVID situations or like probably limited capital, since building brick and mortar stores might be expensive, right? So yeah, I think my job has been getting easier by time. So
okay. Great, thank you so much. So I think, yeah, so this is going to be a very interesting discussion because we have the point of view of one of the senior management from HappyFresh, we have the point of view from the head of HR, and then we also have the point of view from one of the, on the ground marketing managers at Gojek. So you'll actually get input, yeah, masukan dari different angles, yeah, in dalam perusahaan. Okay, so moving on to some of the main questions for this evening, yeah. I think I have a question for Johan. Basically, my question to Johan will be, what are some of the main jobs available in big tech companies? So for example, I'm, working for the University of Warwick, and the main jobs available for universities in the universities would be academics, lecturers, researchers, for sure, right? But in order to function properly, we also need people, staff to do marketing, to do the student recruitment, student administration, facilities management. So what about big tech companies? Johan, will you be able to enlighten us? What are some of the main job roles there are out there?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think it's important to distinguish that big tech is not necessarily a company per se, right? There are many companies or tech companies that span every sort of industry, right? You think of an industry, there will be some tech company around it, right? Now, you've seen, recent years, there's rise of certain industries around e-commerce, around fintech, B2B SaaS platforms, even education, edtech, social media, right? So each of these industries will have a very different structure, have its own set of functions, and they might not even be that different from what a traditional non-tech company have, except with the fact that they probably have a tech company somewhere, right? But you often think big tech. You might think back to the Facebook movie where you have a bunch of engineers working late at night, doing hackathons and just doing this. This is not really how
exactly.
it
Sorry,
works.
Johan, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, exactly. That is such a true statement, because sometimes when people think of big tech, they only think of computer scientists. So people only think of like, oh, I must study computer science to join big tech.
Yeah, not at all. Right? No, I would say not at all. Right? It's even a lot of tech companies these days don't even have a tech company, right? Or don't have a tech team. What do I mean by this? A lot of these tech companies might be outsourcing the tech functionality to another country. They might be utilizing existing tech platforms from the US or from Europe to the tech. So there's not even a need necessarily to have a tech team, and not all tech companies will have it. Most of the big ones, we certainly have a tech team, and this tech team as well, it's just one of many components. But here you typically have something like product managers. The product managers are sort of the business owners. They would link the business needs, the market needs down to the product team, and then you have the engineers who will do the development behind this. So this is always a function that is growing. There will always be more demand than there is supply for this. And it's an industry that is evolving very quickly as well, right? But a lot of these big tech companies, they tend to be funded with a lot of venture capital money. Right? You hear these huge rounds. The expectations as soon as you close a round is that you grow, right? So the investors want to return, they want to see quick impact. So what happens is that the big tech tend to have big growth functions or big marketing functions as well, which comes with big budgets. And again, as I mentioned before, this can be carried out in many things. It can be done on the huge awareness fronts, where you have a creative team behind this that does awareness. You might have a user acquisition team who are highly technical that focus on performance channels. You might have a CRM team that looks at the user lifecycle when it comes to engaging with the users, or even a creative team that comes up with the graphics and all of this. Alongside this, a lot of these tech companies sit on a lot of data. So you will have a lot of a big business intelligence and data science teams that are taking all the data, slicing and dicing it, and providing strategic insights and supporting the whole organization to make something of this data. But even with this, I would also say, tech companies also have a lot of supporting functions that are extremely important and can be highly innovative in as well, right? Like human resources. This is a critical component when it comes to big tech, because like these tech companies are growing so quickly, they're recruiting so many, and it's the job of HR is to make sure that the organization is structured the right way, can scale at the same level, right, as well as innovating and motivating employees. And it can be hugely interesting function. A lot of e-commerces have a huge operations functions. This would be about innovating as a process, focusing on continuous improvements to do so. So really depending on each industry and each sector will have its own sort of structure, and there will be a need across the various functions, from marketing to finance to operations to tech, across the business.
Okay, thank you so much, Johan, for that explanation. So like you said, it's not just data scientists and it's not just programmers, but it's also like a wide range of people with different skills and competencies that big tech companies will be hiring. I have another question, which is now more about the working environment or working style in big tech companies. So we've already heard about the different roles and functions that are available. Jadi sekarang tentang lingkungan pekerjaan ya, atau working style in big tech. How is it different? Apa bedanya dengan mungkin perusahaan besar lain di Indonesia, katakan Garuda Indonesia ya, compared to a big tech Indonesian company? What is the similarities and what are the differences? Maybe Ricci, can you tell us a little bit more from the HR perspective?
Okay, so I think the similarities will be like every company will have the process, but maybe in startup it's not that comprehensive yet. So sometimes like in startup we don't have the process, so you need to like create that process. So if you join like a corporate, usually you already have that, but in startup usually you need to learn by doing. So it's okay like to make mistake, because sometimes everything is like a lot of like many experimentation in the startup, that kind of things. And then also maybe the difference will be like for the flexibility. I mean, in startup usually you are treated like as a responsible adult. So in startup we don't have like so many like maybe like bureaucracy like in the corporate. So for example, for approval and everything, it will be like much faster in startup compared to my previous experience in corporate, like in Coca-Cola or in Samsung. And then you also have like flexibility, like the working hours, and then also like the place like now. But still, it also has the advantage and disadvantage, right? So you need to be like ready, like sometimes like 24 hours, like I don't know, sometimes like in the weekend or like at night, sometimes yeah, you can have like the meeting or something like that, but it's not that often, and it depends on you, like how you want to set like your working style, working hours, so you can communicate that. And then I think also about the changes, yeah, oh my god, in startup the changes will happen like a lot of like maybe many times. When I was like in AirAsia, so at that time I helped to like set up the AirAsia Digital, right? So almost every month I had like organization restructuring. So once I finish the organization restructuring this month, and then like suddenly next month the CEO wants to have like another team, or oh, this team can be a club with this team, so we need to like do another organization changes. So if you like changes, if you like dynamic environment, maybe startup for you. But if you like something more settled, more stable, I think yeah, you can choose like the corporate side. Yeah, so that's the difference.
Thank you, Mas Ricci. Mbak Tiffany, ada mau ditambahin from your perspective ya?
Okay. Saya tadi saya setuju banget sih sama yang Ricci bilang masalah changes and also treating you like responsible adult. So my previous experience was I was not in a big corporate, but I was in a creative agency. Creative agency is a very agile industry, tapi it was pretty traditional. By traditional, I mean the role is pretty much set up, like the job description is pretty much set up. If you compare different agencies, it will be like the same role, the same job description for the same role. Jadi when I was joining startup, it is different. Like what I do as a product marketing manager in Bukalapak is slightly different from what I do in Gojek. And that happens to a lot of my colleagues as well. Jadi kalau ada yang mau coba join di startup, itu, well, I can only say startup. Di startup tuh mungkin siap-siap gitu. The role, the job description, it might change a little. It might shift a little from what you know previously gitu. So be very agile. And also like regarding like treating you like a responsible adult, like the pace is very quick. Kayak misalnya teman-teman nanti baru join gitu ya. Biasa tuh pace-nya langsung cepat. Like you work in such a quick pace, you barely get enough time to adapt sometimes because you have like so many things to. So, and there is no usually nggak banyak yang punya kayak one pre-made documents made for you to read gitu ya, to adapt before you join in. Usually they just like let you know what your job is, what your target is, your team, who are they, and then you just roll with them gitu. So be very agile, be very adaptive. That is like my one take from working with tech companies, especially startups, compared to like more traditional ones.
Okay, thank you. That was really interesting to hear. Yeah. Both from Ricci and Tiffany about the different the nature of the working environment, how it's fast-paced, lots of changes, whereas some of the bigger corporations, the more non-startup companies, they're a bit more bureaucratic, more SOPs to follow, more rules and regulations maybe. All right, okay, now so far we've discussed the different jobs available in big tech and also the working environment. So now I would like to turn our attention to skills and competencies needed to work in big tech companies. So we all know that the big tech scene is booming in Indonesia right now. The Jakarta Post reports that the ICT sector will grow between 9.1 and 10.1% this year, and between 9.8 to 10.3% next year. So that's a really good growth rate. Johan, I'd like to ask you, in your experience, is there any area where there is actually a shortage of qualified or suitable local personnel?
In my experience, there's a shortage across all functions, but that might just be HappyFresh. But when you have big companies investing a lot of money, it means that the companies tend to invest heavily into people as well. What you typically see, right, is that they want to invest into research and development, and they want to invest into growth. So this will be kind of functions where you will always see a high recruitment demand in this. Now, because the tech industry has grown so fast, the supply hasn't been able to keep up with the demand in this sense. And I think the certain functions, specifically in product and tech, there's just not enough in product managers, or there's not enough engineers in the country to meet the demand that currently is. And you see a lot of the big companies have started outsourcing some of these functions, right, to India, to the US, just to kind of keep up to with the pace that we need to. So this will be something that I think is only going to, demand is only going to grow even more. So definitely an interesting function to be in and expertise. Another skill set I haven't seen as much as at the required levels is data scientists. So there's so much data being built up, and this data is hugely valuable for many reasons. To drive strategic decisions, to understand the users, to monetize. This data can be done for anything, right? Then at the moment, I don't think that there's enough data scientists qualified. We're talking about with master degrees or PhD degrees to really drive this to the levels that we see in Europe. And as such, we end up outsourcing some of these functions to other countries as well. So yeah, those would be kind of the key two areas that in my experience, I see are still something that there's a lot of demand for and just not enough supply in Indonesia.
Right. Okay, that's really interesting. So if there are any budding data scientists out there looking for a tech job, that you'll be in demand. So go and get that Bachelor of Science in Data Science degree as soon as possible, because the job's waiting for you in Indonesia. Okay, so the other question that I would like to ask is, from both the HR perspective and in terms of managers, young managers who are looking to recruit staff members, what are the main things that you look for when you are assessing a job candidate, and how important are educational qualifications, right? So maybe we can start with Mbak Tiffany. Jadi Mbak Tiffany, apakah ya kompetensi and skills ya that you are looking for apa pada waktu yang kamu mau rekrut kandidat-kandidat? Ya.
Oke. Jadi kalau dari saya biasa, I see several things. So first one is the culture fit. I think that is the most important. Kenapa culture fit duluan yang important? Karena well, especially in my current job, in my current company, in my current role, the work is very dynamic. Like saya bisa tiba-tiba ngerjain pekerjaannya yang bukan kerjaannya marketing gitu secara konvensional ya. Kayak biasa kan dulu mungkin marketing taunya komunikasi, olah-olah message gitu dan lain-lain ya. But then now I have to do like way other different things than that gitu. So first is the culture fit. Orangnya kira-kira bisa nggak cocok dengan stakeholders lain gitu, dengan lingkungan perusahaannya. Because most of the time you work alone, but you work with other people as well. Jadi you do things on your own, kayak bikin planning and everything else, itu you do it on your own, but you have to talk with like so many different people across the department, across the team. If you are not culturally fit, if you cannot really like communicate with them, if you cannot really like catch up with the pace, if you cannot really like be independent, it'll be hard for you to even join. So usually I check whether the apa namanya yang daftar gitu, pendaftar, whether they fit the company or not, and the team. Second is of course the skill, but in terms of the skill, I try to see more than qualifications. Qualification is important, but then I try to see like how they think, how their logic works gitu. So for example, for like marketing graduates, contohnya ya, karena saya paling tahu marketing ya, I don't expect people to remember all the theories, all the like 4P, 7P, I don't know how many P's out there. Karena itu kayak pelajaran pas di sekolah gitu. Tapi yang penting adalah you understand how you apply that logic gitu. Bahwa kamu ngerti contohnya kalau misalnya mau ngejual barang, itu kamu perlu tahu siapa target audiensnya, kamu mau ngejual siapa gitu, produknya apa, harganya baiknya berapa. That kind of like logic gitu. It shows how your brain works. Usually I like to give like study cases, or I like to throw like random like pop quiz gitu ya, quiz gitu pas lagi interview. And then the last one is something I recently look for when I join is an additional skill. This is not mandatory per se. Biasa kalau kerjaan kan ya role-nya udah dijelasin ya. Tapi apa untuk di tech companies, I think it is very important. Might come in handy, mungkin bisa berguna kalau punya hard skill. Contohnya misalnya bisa coding language gitu, misalnya bisa SQL gitu. Kenapa saya biasa cari yang punya hard skill ini? Nggak wajib sih, cuman kalau punya akan lebih bagus. Karena akan kadang banyak kejadian di mana we are required to do that. For example, I have to be able to take my own data to gather my own data and some sort of that gitu ya. That would come in handy if my team or if I have that hard skill gitu. That would come in handy if you work in that company. So usually those three lah ya, culture fit, the logic thing for the skill, and also like additional hard skill.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That was very helpful. And now, Mas Ricci, from the HR perspective, what are you looking for potential ByteDance employees?
Yes, I think the first factor it's the same like Tiffany. Jadi kalau di ByteDance we have what we call Byte style. So it's like our value. So we also want to have people that also match our value. That's why in ByteDance, you will have at least like 4 interviews, and one of them will be like with HR, because we will see that like Byte style in yourself, something like that. And then the other one is also depends on the role ya. Beberapa role itu you need to have like strong technical. Jadi kayak misalnya for example finance, definitely you need to have the accounting background, something like that. And then also if like in data like business analyst, you need to have like this strong data analytics. Tapi ada juga beberapa role like very general. Contohnya kayak sales. Sales itu biasa kita bisa lihat from the potential sih. Jadi dari interviewnya kadang-kadang kita lihat itu lebih kayak gimana attitude-nya, and then the logic of thinking. Jadi experience kadang-kadang maksudnya pengalaman sebelumnya tuh nggak terlalu diperhitungkan. Terus juga in my department kayak trust and safety, I have role like content moderators. Jadi ini tugasnya yang setiap hari ngeliatin TikTok video and then review apakah kontennya sesuai dengan policy apa enggak kayak gitu. Nah, this role is also for general background. Jadi like even for fresh graduate, they also can apply for this role for content moderator. Jadi skill itu penting for some roles karena you definitely need to have like a strong technical skills. Kayak like in HR, some HR department also need to have like a technical skills, something like that. Jadi it's also important to have that. And then kadang-kadang tergantung juga levelnya. So kalau like in the more senior level, sometimes experience is also needed. Gitu. Tapi sekarang sebetulnya trennya lebih lihat ke potential sih. Like sometimes like in ByteDance kita nggak terlalu ngelihat like experience. Tapi ketika kita misalnya ngobrol, that's why we have like several interview, right? Jadi kita benar-benar like want to select like the best candidate for us kayak gitu.
Okay, thank you very much, Ricci. So definitely, like, skills, a person's, capabilities, that's important. But Ricci, can I just, can you let us know whether, I mean, whenever you look at a job application, educational qualifications are something that you will still look at? That's still something that you will consider?
Yes, like, yeah, I mean, like, usually,
you need to have like a certain degree or something like that?
Yes. So every day I can like receive like hundreds of CV, right? So like in a month maybe can get thousands. So sometimes like to like filter that, I mean sometimes we also see like the reputable universities, and then also like we don't put GPA. So usually we only see the universities, and there we also see the major, something like that. Yes. So it helps us because I cannot check like thousands of CVs. So usually I already like prioritize. So I put like some filters.
Yeah, there needs to be some filter because like you see, you're receiving hundreds and hundreds. You can't read every single one in detail.
Yes, correct.
So very nice. You were speaking about reputable educational institutions, and so speaking of that, speaking of educational qualifications, one thing that all of you speakers share is that you are all educated at the University of Warwick. In England, ya. Jadi kamu semua alumni Universitas Warwick di Inggris. So do you think, I want to ask all of you, do you think your education experience has helped you to advance in your career? And if so, maybe how? Maybe we can start with Johan. Johan, can you tell us a little bit more about your Warwick education? Because you graduated with a bachelor's in management.
Yes. Yeah, so I graduated from a bachelor in management. I chose management at Warwick because it was one of the highest ranked business courses in the region. 100% it helped me secure my finance and consulting job in London upon graduation. And because of that, my journey as an entrepreneur also started, right? So, I think it's really important. The university degrees has really helped me in two components. One is that it definitely lends itself on the credentials. It is important to have been educated at university, as well. Something like Warwick, it goes a long way as well. So that helps open up doors as well as networks further on. But what's more important these days, I would say, more so than the education itself, is actually the ability to do critical thinking, right? What I found is that in university is very intellectual, and that's great. But as you get more experience working, right, it's actually the critical thinking component that is more important, and I think that's something that carries across years and all of this. And it's also a little bit how I think when we recruit people, right? Like we look at it doesn't necessarily mean like what did you study at university, but did you study? And then we really like to assess the critical thinking aspect of this individual, which I think is something that a university degree really picks it up and carries throughout life.
Okay, thank you so much, Johan. Yeah, definitely critical thinking skills are very important, and that's definitely something that at the University of Warwick, obviously, that's something that we really hope to nurture and encourage in all our students. How about Ricci? You did a master's in creative and media in the media industries. Yeah,
Yes.
enterprises, creative and media enterprises. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how that might have helped you?
Okay, so basically my course at that time, it was like a management, but particularly like in creative industry. So like my module is like basically like how you want to create like a startup. So I had a module like how to create a business model, and then like to create like a business plan, and even we have like a simulation to do like pitching, that kind of thing. And then after that, when you get funded, right, you get fund, and then after that, what's next? So we also have module like, for example, like if related to HR, like managing creative people, and then also have module about innovation, how to maintain innovation. So a lot of like actually management theory in my courses. So for me, some of the courses really helped me like in my current role now, because now I also work like in startup, right? So I think it helps me to like apply some of the theories into like my practical job, like in practical work way. And then agree with Johan. I think when you did your master, I think mostly it's about your critical thinking, something like that. Because when I took my master at Warwick, the teaching method mostly it was like a class discussion, case study, a lot of essay, and in essay it's mostly like about like how you express your opinion. If you like disagree with some statement, why, and then you give like a lot of facts and data behind that. Yeah, something like that. So I think it really like train your like critical thinking, and then also like how you make a valid argument, that kind of thing. So it's really helpful in working in startup, because in startup is like really data driven. So we always decide everything based on the data. So it helps me also to like when I discuss with my stakeholders, we had like arguments, something like that. So but I always like back up my argument with the data fact, something like that. So yeah, it helps.
Yeah, data-driven decision making. So I mean, that has become like so important in basically all the different industries. Tiffany, how about your own experiences at the University of Warwick?
Okay, most definitely. I went to Warwick, and I think it's one of the best decision I've made career-wise, karena I landed more interview after that. So jadi lebih banyak dapat interview ya waktu pulang dan update di LinkedIn gitu. But then I think Johan and Ricci made a very very great points, bantu critical thinking, karena pelajarannya di Warwick juga lebih banyak kayak case studies, lebih banyak bikin essay, dan kita jadinya banyak mikir gitu ya. We start to think more critically. But one more thing that is not gak kalah penting adalah networking. That is something crazy good that I find in Warwick. Why? Because Warwick is one of the best universities in Europe and even in the world gitu. So people who enrolled in Warwick is basically very high qualified individuals. Nah, jadi waktu saya di Warwick, jadinya saya banyak kenalan sama orang. I interact with a lot of people from Indonesia and from other countries, and it helps me build my connection gitu. Even I get in here, I get to where I am now is a little bit ya kurang lebih lah ya. Itu bantuan juga dari network yang saya dapetin pas kuliah gitu. So yeah, make sure that if any of you wants to go for like master's degree, make sure to spare your time for the networking. Also like take a good skill, because they definitely have that.
Yes, Ricci, you have something to add.
Yeah, I just remember that about networking. So actually for my work now in ByteDance Indonesia, I got it from my classmate. So my classmate worked for ByteDance China in Shanghai, so in HQ. And then they are looking for the HRBP in Indonesia. At that time I was still in Malaysia. And then he offered me for this role, and I joined the interview and everything, and I got the job. So I returned to Indonesia. So actually, yeah, I got this job now actually from also my network. So from one of my classmates that work in ByteDance China.
So that's such an awesome story, Ricci. Thanks for sharing. I mean, when I speak to potential students, untuk potential student yang mau apply, I always say at University of Warwick you will meet amazing individuals who are very ambitious, who are very career driven, Jadi at least you know that when you go to Warwick, you are surrounded by quite like-minded people who are very professional-minded, quite ambitious people, and that forms and you form a lot of friendships, and that will help you, later on in your future career. So so I think that's a great story. Okay, so now we come to the final part of this discussion After that kita akan mulai sesi soal jawab. Jadi the last question that I have is for all of you, for all the speakers, I'm sure that many of the people watching would want to know kalau ada tips and advice untuk potential job applicants or potential or even maybe some of the graduates who are watching right now, kalau mereka mau berkarir dalam big tech, apakah tips dan top tips and advice that you can share with them? So maybe I'll start with Tiffany this time. Tiffany?
Okay. Kalau dari saya, this is something that I didn't know when I was younger. Mungkin lebih ke understand the career trajectory. Maksudnya gimana sih? Jadi kalau mau join ke tech company, ini I can only say about startup because I most of the time I've been in startups, but I think this can be applied to a lot of different roles. Tapi waktu mulai kerja, cari tahu dulu sebenarnya teman-teman tuh pengen kerja di bidang apa dan apa aja opsi kerjaannya. Misalnya nih contoh, saya lulus, saya tuh pengen kerja di bidang marketing. Marketing tuh udah luas banget, teman-teman. Marketing tuh banyak banget. Mau jadi researcher, mau jadi orang brand gitu yang megang brandingnya, mau jadi yang lebih teknis kayak misalnya orang offline marketing yang suka bikin event gitu misalnya offline activation. Those needs different skill sets. And those can also bring you to different career path gitu. Career path-nya tuh beda-beda gitu. Jadi try to understand more, try to understand the role that you're interested with, try to understand yourself, kayak kalian tuh sukanya skill apa sih, kalian suka kerja yang kayak gimana sih gitu. Sebelum daftar kerja, pelajarin dulu. Dan kalau bisa, get a lot of friends, talk with them, discuss with them, tanyain. Kalau misalnya, if you guys want to go for a master's degree, you will meet a lot of professionals there. You can ask them a lot of questions. Kayak, what do you do on your daily basis? What kind of career that you're planning to have? What are the paths that you can take gitu. Jadi you have a lot of references that would definitely help you to shape what kind of skill you want to develop before you join or even during your tenure in that company gitu sih. So you're better prepared for that. That's some 2 cents from me.
So Tiffany, I really love your advice. Now the reason is because sometimes I go for career fairs and career like university fair, right? People want to do masters. Then I will ask them, oh, jadi kamu mau master in industrial engineering? Kenapa ya? And then kadang-kadang jawabannya iya karena bachelor saya S1 saya dalam industrial engineering. Jadi for me, I'm like, okay, but what do you want to do after your master's degree?
Correct, That's something very important to know, karena nanti kalau enggak tuh kemana-mana gitu, sayang banget. You waste your time learning things that you don't even want to do gitu. So make sure that you know that first gitu before taking any decisions yang besar gitu sih.
Iya, betul. Okay, now Ricci, would you like to share your top tips and advice for students thinking about a career in big tech?
Okay, so for me, I think first of all, you need to ask yourself, it's about your personality. Do you like changes, dynamic, or you like very stable, more rigid company, something like that. Karena kalau di startup, I can say that startup itu kelihatannya fun, tapi jangan ketipu juga, because startup is not for everyone. Jadi ketika masuk startup, siap-siap aja nanti ketika masuk terus tiba-tiba lah kok ngerjain ini, it's out of my job desk, tapi you need to do that. And then a lot of project, terus a lot of maybe sometimes uncertainty kayak gitu. Jadi but if you like creating something, if you like to make something, so startup is a place for you. Tapi because I found like a lot of people sometimes like in probation period, and then either they don't pass the probation or they like withdraw because of this. Karena ternyata startup it's not like that or what they thought before gitu, atau karena ternyata secara attitude, secara value mereka tidak bisa catch up dengan pace-nya startup kayak gitu. Jadi you need to ask yourself lah about your personality. Beberapa orang kan mungkin lebih suka kayak jadi pegawai negeri, kayak udah pasti, udah teratur kayak gitu. Tapi kalau startup bakal banyak ini sih changes, kaget-kagetnya kayak gitu. Jadi itu aja sih.
Yep. Again, I think that's golden. That's like really good advice, because when we think about working for like Google, Facebook, all these then you're like, oh wow, such a great lifestyle. You can play ping pong during your working hours. That's how they market, right? These startup jobs. But then yeah, you're right. I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's also a reality to like the kind of work that's at the core of that. And so as you said, jangan ketipu ya. All right, okay, how about you, Johan? What are your tips and advice?
I really like the tips already shared. I can resonate with this. I think that the tech industry is extremely broad, and there's something for everyone. Really, like it's not just tech, it's not tech, it's something for everyone. So I think the key is to really do research, research the company, research the culture, research the market, research the sort of industries that are in here, and see kind of what resonates with you. There's going to be more jobs available than there is supply at the moment. So, finding this is key. If I was a graduate or someone who was switching over from a corporate, and moving from corporate to a startup was the best decision I did in my 20s. The way I would do it is I would join some of the bigger tech companies, just to get the experience of what these tech companies are doing. They have refined their practices for long. They tend to have a lot of programs to also develop you as a person, right? Depending on where you want to go. And then when you have this experience, go to a smaller company, and really grow. You join it as a small, join as a more senior person, and then you can grow in this, right? You can become a head of marketing. My intern became a head of marketing within 4 years. So the opportunities to grow is extremely fast. And once you're on board with this, you can start your own company. There's so much venture capitalist money in this region that ideas are going to get funded left and right? So if you want to go highly entrepreneurial without using your money, I think tech is also the industry to do so. And Indonesia, I think, is the country that all of them are looking into at the moment. So also a huge opportunity going forward.
All right, Johan, spoken like a true entrepreneur. If you get bored of it, just start your own company. So yeah, I imagine there are a lot of challenges to that, but yeah, I guess you need to have a certain mindset, that entrepreneurial mindset, in order to do that. All right, okay. So I think that brings us to the end of the panel discussion. I hope it has been an interesting discussion for all our audience. We've actually had I think a very wide-ranging discussion from different perspectives, and I hope that's been enriching. So what I will do is I would like to now hand over to Pak Hendra, who will now take over for the Q&A session. Sorry, but I just remembered something as I'm babbling along. Another really great thing that Johan talked about is the experience, like trying to get different experience from different companies, right? And that is something that, if you go to the University of Warwick, you study at the University of Warwick, internships are something that are strongly encouraged by the university. So the university partners with a lot of different companies where, for example, the companies will advertise their job openings, their internship openings on our unique career portal. It's called My Advantage, and definitely, so internships are definitely the way to go, and that's something that is now strongly pushed, by Warwick. We really encourage our students, and we provide them with a lot of support for them to get those internships and to get those, job interviews. All right. Okay. So Pak Hendra, I am done for now. So I will hand over the mic to you.
Thank you so much, Pak. It's been a very nice and very interesting discussion. Saya langsung lempar ke teman-teman yang ada di sini. Ada yang ingin bertanya tidak? Kalau saya sih sebetulnya ada satu pertanyaan ya. Johan, can I ask you something? You gave a very good advice. You get bored, start your own company. Or being in a smaller company, but you become the head. Now, the idea about being entrepreneur, should we wait until we get bored, or should we think about it when we started to work for someone?
Good question. I don't think you should wait until you get bored. I think it's something that it's always good to have it back in your mind. Some people want to, can take the risk. Some people are afraid of the risk. From my own experience, it's once you take the risk, the risk seems small. And you might fail, but it's about stepping up and do it again, right? And I think ultimately for something like Indonesia to develop, it's going to be developing more entrepreneurs, and you see how the economy has moved with the recent big tech, right? And this happens with someone taking big moves, and it's not as difficult as people say. Like I said, there's a lot of funding in the region. I think the opportunities is there, but it just requires the thinking and the mentality to go ahead with it, which I think everyone has.
Right. Well, again, another good advice. Ada yang ingin bertanya, mungkin boleh bertanya langsung, boleh mengirimkan pertanyaannya di chat box, silahkan. Let me ask Mas Ricci. Mas Ricci, you were saying about attitude. You were saying about when you select people, yeah? You're saying about your filtering through the university. Since you work for TikTok, do you also filter whether they can dance or not?
I think it can be like added value, yeah, because as a TikTok employee, sooner or later, you will get a task to make a video, like either for town hall or either for like meeting, for company celebration, that kind of thing. So yeah, I also did that. So yeah, yes, so
Okay.
it will be an added value.
Added value, ya.
Jadi Mas Ricci, Om juga bisa belajar jadi TikToker ya? Om kayak saya.
Oh, of course, yeah, bisa. We have
Okay.
TikTok, start installing first.
Definitely not for me then. Okay, got a questions now from our friends here. Do you have any tips and tricks for someone who wants to shift their career from non-tech related into tech? Anyone would like to start answering? Johan, would you like to start answering?
From non-tech to tech, actually happens more often than not. I think when it depends on the discipline as well. So, for example, I have many of my marketing people join from non-tech into tech in the sense. So the shift is possible. It helps if the function that they did in non-tech is related. So, for example, if you did marketing in a non-tech company, it's going to be easier to transfer to marketing in this. Having said that, there are certain functions that are not necessarily available in non-tech, right? So I think the user research, right? How do you move to this? I think in situations like this, it's best to research a company, get in touch with someone who's doing that particular role. So maybe user research, and start a conversation. Start a conversation about the motivation. Start about this, because as I say, I think a lot of these companies are willing to groom people from the ground up. Maybe they have positions open where they can do this. So my advice would be proactive, research, reach out, have a conversation, and maybe something comes out of it.
Right. But Tiffany, any comment? Sorry.
Sorry, but apologies. I just wanted to say that one of the ideas on how to make the transfer is to do a course in the university. So for example, right, if you are, if you want to do a PM, I think the person mentioned PM in the message. So maybe that's project management. So for example, Warwick, we have a master's degree in project management, for example. So definitely, I think doing a university course, a relevant master's course might help as well. Sorry, that's what I have to say.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's correct. Doing a conversion course, yeah. Mbak Tiffany, your tips.
Okay, so I have not changed a lane from non-tech to tech, but I do have like so many friends doing that. Jadi banyak banget tuh anak bisnis from business school. All of a sudden, they're UI UX researcher, they're product manager, or one of them even go as far as being an app developer. That's crazy, right? That's crazy jump. What they do first is they do either a conversion course, like what Imran said, or they take a very serious lessons kayak di luar kampus, belajar hard skill-nya. Jadi first you do research, cari tahu minimum requirements-nya itu perlu hard skill apa gitu misalnya. Karena kan ada role-role di tech yang butuh hard skill banget kan. Makanya kayak susah masuknya gitu. Find that skill, see if you can learn it. Also other than that, create portfolio. Nah, biasa tuh orang suka cari portfolio. Kayak misalnya mau jadi researcher, itu biasa mereka akan coba minta kalian contohin gitu, cari portfolionya gitu, pernah ngelakuin research apa. Or if you wanna be a developer, if you wanna be a programmer juga, sometimes they check for your portfolio gitu. Jadi try to sharpen the hard skill needed for that tech role first. But before that, research. That would be my friends' tips, not mine, but like, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going for the next question. Let me ask the HR. Mas Ricci, did you read the question? I want to ask something. I studied nutrition and dietetics, just found out that I'm into business or working in a company. Actually, currently I'm looking for a job. Is it possible for the HR to check in our CV because I'm not even coming from a reputable university?
Okay, this is like a good question. So like for HR, usually we don't only like see from the university. I know like reputable university will be like a important factor, but sometimes like for like general role, like for example, like if we have like a management trainee program, or when we have like the content moderator, where we think that the most important thing is about the potential of the candidate, because content moderator, the most important thing, you have the analytical thinking. So we will have like the test and everything. So it doesn't matter you come from like any background or any like university. So as long as you have this analytical thinking, you can differentiate which video should be banned, which video should be allowed, something like that, it should be fine. So the tips is you need to also choose like maybe the role first. It's whether the role will accept like from any major or any university, because sometimes I know like for very competitive job, they already put like only from reputable university, or they put the GPA and everything. But if not, it should be like you will have like higher chance to get selected. And then like for me, I think you also can help to maybe make to build your portfolio as well. So sometimes like you need to do like a baby steps. So maybe start from the like smaller company first, and then when you already have work experience, sometimes work experience is much more important, sometimes even than your like educational, because some company, they want someone that have like an experience, that get ready to work. So you also can do that. So yeah, you do it like maybe in the like baby step. So yeah, you can start aiming like for the like smaller company with your portfolio, and then you apply for like bigger company.
Right. Thank you very much. Pak Imran, I'm so sorry. I will have to add something based on my own experience of doing recruitment. Mbak siapa nih? Mbak Cecilia ya. Satu hal yang terkadang kalau saya boleh berbagi, kebetulan saya dipercaya untuk memimpin perusahaan ini, satu hal kalau saya berbagi, terkadang banyak aplikan yang lupa menyebutkan. Tadi Mbak Tiffany sempat menyebutkan mengenai additional skill. Nah, additional skill ini adalah salah satu key point atau selling point kita yang harus kita cantumkan di CV maupun di lamaran. Kalau kita cantumkan, itu akan menjadi daya tarik tersendiri. You never know what will come to you, what sort of opportunity that come to you. So you need to explore and you need to know what is your additional skill, what is your skills other than academics, expose them, make sure the company see your skills, and I'm sure a lot of companies would look into that instead of just academics. Yeah. Okay. What is the trick in other for the HR to check on our CV when we don't have supporting background to the job applied? I don't know. To my opinion, is additional skill. Johan, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would, you know, when you're switching careers or you don't think that something is this, you know, focus on your skills, do a skills-based CV, enhance your skills with courses, complementary courses, right? This is the key. I think experience, you know, it's not uncommon to switch careers. It's not uncommon in the tech industry to go from non-tech to tech. What is the common denominator is that we want to see that you have the relevant skills. So really pick and choose, have a think about what your core skills are, and then find what the role is that suits for this. You know, it's a two-way relationship.
Right. Let's go to the next one. When you are looking for new employees, which one do you take an interest in? The one with lots of hard skill, but average on them, or the one focused on one hard skill, but a master on them? Anyone would like to answer? Mas Ricci, Mbak Tiffany, or Johan? Anyone? Questions from Kayla.
Okay, so I'll help to answer first. So for me, like depends on the role. Yeah, if like the software developer, if you want to be like the individual contributor, and then you want to be like really expert, so I prefer someone that will have like one hard skill, for example, like really good in coding, and then later on, yeah, usually it depends. Yeah, some people they want to be like a more like in the managerial role. Jadi sometimes the technical maybe not that deep, tapi they have like another skill kayak ada leadership atau apa kayak gitu. Nah, tapi kalau misalnya in the beginning, usually based on my experience ya, kalau in the tech industry tergantung role-nya, terutama kalau misalnya role-nya kayak developer, we prefer someone with really like good technical, and then after that kalau emang nanti mereka ada interest yang lain, kita bisa develop juga karirnya, misalnya nanti ada we can give like training or job rotation atau apa, tapi beberapa posisi akan prefer yang benar-benar strong banget sih skillnya kayak gitu, terutama kalau di tech ya, kayak coding itu cari orang yang benar-benar jago di coding itu susah banget waktu itu rekrutmen. Jadi kita nyarinya itu sih. Jadi ya biasanya kalau di tech industry lebih yang skillnya.
Cool. But Tiff would like to add something, or?
No, I think Ricci has answered like everything.
Yeah, he's the master of HR. He's the boss. Right. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is a direct questions to Mas Ricci. Point of view, if somebody have ever shifting career with 4 different position, wow. Okay, this position more need people oriented, then these people want more explore again. Is it good? Mbak Desi, boleh dituliskan maksudnya
Tapi bahasa
gimana?
Indonesia juga boleh.
Ya, pakai bahasa Indonesia juga boleh. Saya agak kurang nyambung nih. Let's go to the next one ya. Mbak Agni. Hi all, I'm from industrial engineering background and work as an industrial engineer. if I want to change my career to be a business development in tech companies, what I have to prepare if I don't have any experience in this field? Easy one. You go to Warwick, get a master degree, then you shift the job. Pak Imran, do you agree with that?
You know that's the only answer I have.
Okay,
Go to
anyone?
Warwick to go and do a relevant course.
Right. Anyone would like to answer? Anyone?
I think, well, I had a brief stint as business development, but Ricci, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you have mastery in this, but for business development, what it took was, I think, more about your logical thinking, your attitude, and also the potential instead of like a hard skill, because there is. I'm not quite sure there is a hard skill or a specific set of skills needed to be a business development, to take a business development role. Would that be correct, Ricci?
Yeah. I think business development is like is the role that is like learnable. So actually you can learn. So you don't really need like very specific technical skills. So it's more to like can do attitude and then like your persistent and then product knowledge. But you will get the training as well for the product knowledge for this business development, and then like communication, networking, relationship, mostly in the soft skills. So I think it's still possible. But if you want to do like coding, I think you need to have a course first. But if this is development, I think should be fine.
Fun fact, a friend of mine took a bachelor degree in biology, and he ended up as a business development, and a good one at that. So I think that would be fine for you to try.
I look at the background members of my team. My head of performance marketing has a bachelor and a master's in engineering. So it really like for me or my experience, it's less relevant what you study as opposed to that you studied something and then really bringing forth those skills, right? And trying to understand why do you want to do something like business development? Are you interested in the people aspect of it? Are you interested in the sales aspect? And then identify sort of the skills that could lead you to this, right? Now, one way could be in your existing organization. Maybe there's some business development opportunities that you could maybe have an internal transfer, and that might make the switch from non-tech to tech easier. Or if you, again, like focus on your skills and you think that the current skills that you have are good for business development, then, position yourself in a way to highlight those strengths. And if you don't think you have those skills, then again, do some courses with the university or some other place to kind of replenish on this in this sense. But in my experience, business development has people from all regions because it's a highly people-driven function, and you need to have a positive attitude. You need to be able to convince people. You need to be able to lead people when you're a manager.
Okay, if I can add something, kalau sedikit saya tambahkan ya, kalau bicara mengenai business development, sebetulnya bicara mengenai business development adalah bicara mengenai logic dan seberapa jauh kita mengenal perusahaan kita. Semakin jauh kita mengenal perusahaan kita, semakin jauh kita mengenal perusahaan yang akan kita masuki, itu akan sangat membantu kita untuk menentukan apakah kita bisa di posisi business development atau tidak. Karena sesuai dengan artinya, development adalah perkembangan. Perkembangannya adalah sesuatu yang tidak bisa dipaksakan. Berkembangnya ke arah sini aja. Padahal era dan lain-lainnya sudah tidak mendukung. Bisnisnya sudah berubah. Market sudah berubah. So, logical thinking adalah salah satu faktor yang harus dimiliki oleh setiap pihak. Karena dengan logical thinking, maka kita akan memiliki pandangan yang lebih luas. Memahami, oke, sekarang eranya seperti ini, berarti saya developingnya ke sini. Kalau sekarang eranya seperti ini, saya harus developnya kemana? Ya, sedikit tambahan dari saya. Nah, ini pertanyaan tadi, Mas Ricci, Mbak Dewi, siapa tadi? Mbak Desi, ya.
Oke, saya coba jawab. So, untuk yang ini, Kalau untuk HR sih sebenarnya tergantung dari HR-nya ya. Kalau soalnya HR itu kan bisa beda-beda orangnya. Kalau for me, I'm like not that judgmental. Kalau orang misalnya pindah-pindah posisi, as long as you have like valid reasons. Cuma kadang-kadang beberapa HR juga like to judge kayak, oh, I'm questioning your loyalty, something like that, or persistent if you keep changing career. But for me, especially if like for young people ya, it's okay to find like the career that you want gitu loh. Mumpung masih muda gitu. Nah, ini makanya juga harus dilihat juga ketika kita mau shifting karir, kita udah punya berapa lama working experience. Karena kalau misalnya udah di atas 5 tahun, are you willing to start all over again? Karena biasa shifting karir, you will start from the beginning loh, mulai lagi dari awal kayak gitu. If you are willing to take that risk, should be fine. Jadi kalau mau jadi PM, product manager, I assume, ya definitely you need to know a lot about like technical stuff gitu. Kayak misalnya you don't need to know coding, but you know like the business process, like maybe the agile process kayak gitu. And then biasanya kan karena ini benar-benar new career, you will start from the beginning again. Jadi start from junior. So is it okay for you gitu. Jadi ini sebetulnya juga you need to consider kayak udah berapa lama working experience-nya. Kalau emang udah di atas 5 tahun, kalau mau mulai lagi it's okay, tapi ya biasanya sih orang kalau udah di atas 5 tahun already know lah kira-kira mau jadi apa, karena kalau mulai lagi kayaknya udah sayang juga kan experience yang sebelumnya kayak gitu. Tapi ya nggak apa-apa juga, karena beberapa orang emang lebih penting adalah passion kan kerja, kalau emang dia sukanya itu kayak gitu. So it's your choice kayak gitu. Cuma ya HR pun beda-beda ya, ada beberapa yang suka judging juga, kan anggap wah ini kayaknya orangnya nggak loyal atau apa. But for me I'm okay because it's a startup now, it's like a common phenomena I can say ya kayak gitu. Karena ya in startup you also can say that people already work like 2-3 years is already like good enough sih. Ya, kayaknya kayak gitu sih startup juga kayaknya.
A very wise answer, Mas Ricci. Very wise. Mbak Tiffany, the question is yours. The last one.
Okay, let me read it. Provider Indonesia 3 tahun, bidang community marketing, retail sales, bidang oke. Bisa, ini tricky. Sebenarnya bisa jadi jurusan yang tepat sih. Kalau misalnya emang niatnya masih di bidang marketing strategy. Definitely, wait, let me think. Karena banyak banget course-nya marketing kan. There are a lot of like different marketing course, and I'm wondering if you plan to stay in the sales gitu ya, tapi mau sharpen like the marketing skill dengan ambil marketing and strategy to make sure that when you deliver your product, you actually target the right people and you target the right product. I think the marketing and strategy course is the best one. It gives you like a great overview as well as detailed down knowledge about marketing and about business as a whole gitu. Tapi kalau misalnya you wanna go for specific roles, kayak misalnya something related to data gitu ya, misalnya, or you wanna shift into something, for example, like behavioral marketing gitu, you might need to research like other roles. So I think all depends on the kind of like role you wanna put on. Karena kan kalau kayak tema big data and marketing kan itu sebuah apa ya? Ya, it is not like a specific role gitu kan. Kayak, nah tapi kayak ujung-ujungnya ntar kerjanya mau di bidang apa lagi gitu. I think that would help. Imran might have like recommendations of courses to be beneficial.
Yeah. Well, rather than go into the recommendations now, Mbak Sutrisnosia, ya kontak saya aja ya. Nanti saya bisa do one-to-one counseling, find out more about your academic qualifications, what you want to study, and etc. I have many courses to choose from, so just get in touch with me.
It's Mas, not Mbak.
So sorry, Mas.
That's right.
And maybe one more thing for Mas Sutrisno, coba dicek kayak detail course-nya ada pelajaran apa aja. I took my master's degree, I think 2016. There might be like different courses now. Jadi bisa dicek. What I did was I was checking like my courses gitu, kira-kira apa aja yang berhubungan. Mungkin bisa dicek dulu. Warwick sekarang punya courses yang berhubungan sama big data marketing or not. Itu sih paling penting, karena sayang nanti kalau misalnya udah spare your time to go for school, tapi nggak ada kelas yang bisa, satisfy your curiosity over like the topics.
We definitely have big data marketing at Warwick now.
Okay, we have the next one. I am bachelor from agriculture, wondering, saat ini kan banyak startup di bidang agrikultur, but the people, ini saya bacanya bingung, dicampur-campur ini, bahasa Inggris, Indonesia, but the people from agriculture background is really needed there. Jika iya, cocok untuk di posisi apa ya? Hang on, let me read it again. I am from bachelor from agriculture, wondering startup bidang agriculture.
Untuk startup yang bidangnya agrikultur, kalau orang yang punya background education di agrikultur juga,
cocoknya background apa? Okay, thank you Mbak Tiffany. I'm too old for this. Okay, go ahead. Anybody would like to answer?
I want to share sih. Jadi waktu itu pernah di interview juga sama beberapa perusahaan agriculture startup. So definitely they will need someone from agriculture background, karena as far as I know mereka itu akan punya team operations. Jadi misalnya tuh salah satu startup agriculture yang at that time interview me, they said they will open like a new farm in Bali. So that's one of the project. So definitely to manage that farm, they will need people from agricultural background. Like even for example, for the operation manager, because you need to know, right, how to operate that farm, and then how to make it like really productive for that farm. So it will really need your agriculture background. Yes.
I think there's a trend, right? There's a lot of agriculture startups coming up, and at the very core of this problem is that they're trying to innovate farming, right? Innovate agriculture, and this can only be done using either intellectual experience or hands-on experience, right? So when it comes to driving innovation, which is how this companies grow, right? I think it's really important to have deep experience when it comes to agriculture, because you need to innovate the supply chain, right? In many ways. So I would be surprised if none of these didn't have a requirement for people with agriculture experience. Having said that, the whole organizations, right, will have all the supporting functions, tech, marketing, all of this, right? So it'll be one division out of many. But if that's your degree and that's something that interests you, I think there's so many interesting companies in the agriculture sector at the moment, just to innovate the whole industry.
Johan, would you agree if I say that apart from having a strong academic background in agriculture, it is also necessary for us to expand our horizons, to expand our exposure about agriculture itself, so that we can fit into the business?
Yes. It's a combination of both, right? You need to have the business experience, this is what happens on the ground, but you also need to have the intellectual experience, and a lot of innovation happens on the intellectual level, and there's a lot of intellectuals happening across the world, right? And taking all that learnings and implementing it to business solution, I think is how innovation can be driven, right? And at the end of the day, companies can only survive by keep innovating themselves and innovating beyond the competition. So I'm a big believer that in something as technical like agriculture, both forces have to come into play.
Right. Pak Imran, do you want to say anything? Perhaps advising from agriculture to switch in to any conversion course that you have, probably one conversion course that you have in mind. Pak Imran?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, right? So like I said, at the end of the day, it depends on, what are the skills that you want to pick up. So what I usually do is I sit down with somebody and have a deep conversation about, okay, so what is it that you want, what are your educational backgrounds, etc. So we do have actually, if you want to move out of agriculture, we do have bioprocessing, biotechnology with management. So that sort of bridges the two between life sciences and agriculture with the business world. So, bioprocessing, biotechnology, and then combined with management. We have courses like that offered by the School of Life Sciences.
Right. Okay. I'll take this one as the last question. Hi all, is there still any chance to be accepted to a different industry startup from the previous one? What qualification that would be considered? Is it only hard skill matters or related similar industry background would be preferred? Mbak Tiff, would you like to share?
Okay. I've had experience interviewing. I actually changed industry, but I think it's pretty similar. I changed from creative agency to e-commerce startup. I wouldn't say there is a preference. Sebenarnya kayak karena skill yang dibutuhin tuh untuk role-nya itu sama gitu. Well, nggak sama, tapi mirip. Jadi nggak ada preferensi kayak background sebelumnya tuh kayak gimana gitu ya. Perusahaan sebelumnya kayak gimana. Yang ada dilihat your previous role itu kayak gimana. So it's more about the role rather than the company industry. Cuman there might be some role. I think maybe like Ricci and Johan can give like examples or use cases if you have any. There are some roles that requires you to have like good knowledge in the industry gitu. Kayak misalnya kayak I've had like one experience, a friend dia di not business development. I was not sure what was the role. Tapi dia punya industri itu berhubungan sama kayak nutrition. Waktu itu nutrition tentang kayak FMCG yang berhubungan sama nutrition. Nah itu tuh banyak dicari di role dia selanjutnya gitu karena there are like technical skills sama kayak knowledge yang kayak lebih theoretical gitu yang dia punya gitu ya, dia berhubungan dengan nutrisi, makanya dia dicari kayak gitu. Tapi kalau role kayak yang lebih generalis kayak misalnya marketing, business development dan lain-lain, I'm pretty sure once you got like the gist of it, any like industry wouldn't like nggak ada hubungannya sama preferensinya gitu ke depannya. So yeah, I think maybe focus more on the like on the skills that you have and the skills that the role needed first gitu instead of like the industry.
Okay.
I completely agree with Tiffany. Yeah, I would say that from my experience, we don't look at the industry specifically. As long as you carry out the relevant skills within the jobs, that's the more important for us than the industry specifically, in most cases for us. Yeah.
Right. Okay, thanks Johan, thanks Tiffany. Okay, one last questions. Yes, Pak Imran, just the last one ya. Okay. Adinda semester 5 menanyakan tips and tricksnya supaya magang bisa diterima. Kalau saya boleh sedikit tambahkan dulu ya, kondisi sekarang ini memang memaksa perusahaan untuk lebih efisien dan efektif. Kalau mereka mau menerima magang dan intern, itu memang karena kesatu, kalau memang perusahaannya sedang tidak terlalu load-nya banyak, maka mereka tentunya akan menolak karena tidak akan ada yang bisa dikerjakan. Tapi kalau memang kita melihat, yang harus kita lihat adalah sebetulnya sektoralnya. Saat ini sektoral apa yang sedang ramai. Jadi kalau kita bicara sektoralnya sekarang, lebih ramai kalau kayak misalkan tetap seperti di TikTok katakan, mereka tetap ada menerima intern. Nah, kesitulah kita melamar untuk menjadi internnya. Itu kalau dari saya. Dan satu lagi adalah kalau intern, magang, usahakan benar magang. Bukan cuma disuruh fotokopi sama seseorang di kantornya, disuruh bikinin kopi, bikinin teh. Bukan begitu. Kalau magang itu you have to work in the company and experience of working in the company. Yeah. Okay. Now questions. These questions. Anyone would like to add something, Mas Ricci, Mas Johan, or Mbak Tiff? About
Jadi untuk
intern?
magang itu biasanya tiap company pasti punya periodenya. So you need also to check the period sih. Kayak misalnya TikTok itu buka tuh magang tuh tiap Januari sama nanti pas summer. Jadi mereka itu ngikutin kayak jadwal internship-nya di US gitu kan. Biasa di US itu ada summer internship. Jadi summer internship tuh pasti buka. Terus ada lagi yang di awal tahun ini juga akan buka. Jadi you need to check karena tiap company pun punya kalender beda-beda untuk jadwal magang. Biasanya kalau lagi pas jadwal magangnya dibuka itu kesempatan diterimanya lebih tinggi kan, walaupun seleksinya juga ketat sih, daripada kayak randomly tiba-tiba ngirim CV atau ngirim apa cuma untuk magang. Emang seperti yang tadi Pak Hendra bilang, kalau ketika kita tidak ada kebutuhannya ya nggak akan diterima juga magang itu gitu loh, karena semua tergantung dari kebutuhan dari company juga.
So the question is about internships, yeah? So the question is about internships and, when is maybe the best time or how best to get an internship?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Pak Imran, I think that we have answered everything. We can sum up for tonight. And would you like to give a brief closure on the topic of today, Pak?
Well, I think all our speakers have spoken brilliantly. I really appreciated the insights that they've brought, and I think, they've spoken very honestly as well. For example, they said, don't just be looking at the glamorous side of big tech, also be aware that, that in every job, there will always be pros and cons. They've also given us what I liked also was that, they helped to explain to us that big tech is not an industry just for computer scientists and data scientists. It's actually an industry that is open to recruiting for people for, for various functions, and coming from different academic backgrounds and different, qualifications. Just that you need to come with the right attitude, you need to come with the right skills, you need to come, with the right sort of mentality in order to and show that you're able to cope in the kind of special culture that you have in big tech companies and startups compared to all these big corporations. So I think they've really given us, like I said, a lot of great insights. And I'd like to thank all these amazing Warwick alumni for joining us this evening and for making the university proud. So yeah, thank you very much.
Right. Okay. Let's call it a day. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for attending the webinar tonight. We will be in touch, and do not hesitate if you want to ask anything about the course at Warwick. You can keep in touch with Pak Imran, or you can keep in touch with us. We are based in Indonesia, and if you want to get a job at Gojek, TikTok, or HappyFresh, you know who to contact. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Johan. Thanks, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ricci.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Hendra and
Thank you,
Ibeck.
everyone.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.